Within football, there is an obsession to cover up club roots purely because they don't line up with your own beliefs. This outweighs all history and tradition, even if that history goes back over 100 years. Take Athletic Bilbao fans, a club helped formed by the British, and yet anti-British sentiment runs deep, all because the fan base has taken up flawed anti-imperialist beliefs and built ties to Irish nationalists who have infiltrated the fan base with their own issues, as we saw when Bilbao faced Rangers, and a pale man waving the tricolour was at the front of the Bilbao crowd. What followed was a string of attacks on Rangers fans across Bilbao. With extra security in place at every Old Firm derby, Celtic fans made sure to tag along in Bilbao. The reason why I say flawed anti-imperialist views is because the left is only anti-imperialist if it involves specific nations like the US and Britain. If it involves Russia, China and Iran, imperialism doesn't exist. I wouldn't typically want to talk politics in a video about football, as I do believe it should be kept separate, but there needs to be context as to why this situation is so absurd and the beliefs are so flawed. Now on to the history. The British played a major role in the formation of Athletic Bilbao. They introduced football to Bilbao through British steel and shipyard workers and Basque students educated in Britain. In 1889, British employees formed a multi-sports entity called Club Atleta, who played the first known football match in Bilbao on the 4th of April 1890, in a game between club members. They played the crew of English ships made up of miners from Southampton, Portsmouth and Sunderland. The first matches were held on a field known as La Campa de los Ingleses, the English camp, but it was at the Campo de Lamiaco where football took off, with bill bands swarming the field to watch the teams of British workers challenge each other every weekend. Meanwhile, sons of Basque educated classes went to Britain to complete their studies in civil engineering and commerce. While in Britain, these students developed an interest in football, and on their return they began to arrange games at Lamiaco. An early example was in the spring of 1894 when some Bilbanos faced English residents in Bilbao on the morning of the 3rd of May, ending in a 5-0 English win. History and tradition create identity, unless of course those involved have hijacked the fan base, which is a common route for political groups and hooligans in the past, particularly in football. In this case, using a football club as a base to spread political views is quite common, particularly among the left. We've seen Celtic, St. Pauli and Ajax take up similar routes. In terms of the right, it's much more isolated to countries like Italy with Lazio. Many will say they exist in England with Millwall and West Ham, but they're nothing more than patriots, which you'll find in large numbers in every club in England. Even with West Ham's ties with Lazio, the fan bases are nothing alike. Lazio fans will openly display fascist symbols and swastikas. These fans aren't victims any more than the rest of the world. It's automatic bodies for recruitment. We saw the far right attempt to do the same over 2 decades ago in Britain. Most people can agree that football and politics don't mix, but the rules have changed. In a society where more and more don't feel protected and represented, football fan bases offer something that has since disappeared in other areas. Social clubs are becoming less popular, more and more people aren't going to the pub, less people are going clubbing. Football is one of the last hubs for social activity outside of the internet.